This is the greatest moment in my life. Nailed it.
Hey yo. I'm so proud of myself because of what I've just done. And no one else knows what we've been doing. But that I'm really proud of myself. Oh, I haven't saved it yet.
Brilliant. So I'll tell everyone. So Sai has edited a banner and copied a website letter by letter because he had it on his phone and wanted to put it into StreamYard on his computer, but left it for 46 seconds before we start recording to start doing it.
I'd have been absolutely fine. I'd have been absolutely fine if you didn't start putting unnecessary pressure on me. Look, I'm sweating because of the pressure you put on me. Also, I'm fat and it's really warm in here.
But we've also got the bear back, which is a great thing.
We have. Nope. Big Bob. Yeah, wrong way again. Big Bob is sat behind me again. He's had a change of t-shirt, mate. He's had a change of t-shirt.
Big Bob, baby.
Exactly. He's sporting an Adam Cole Bullet Club shirt this week. Big Bob. So, yeah, there you go. There you go. Adam Cole, eh? Tell the wife dressed in this week, can't you?
Yeah, you can.
Maxie, I feel a little bit grotty right now.
You do? Wow. You didn't mention this on the pre-record. You've sprung this on me.
Well, no, it's not grotty as in ill, but it's just a bit bleh. And it's self-inflicted. I made everyone toasties earlier on for dinner, like, and Sharon was like, "Oh, there's some onion there, mind you. You know, cut up a bit of onion and put a bit of onion in mine." And I normally have peppers, and I thought I don't need onion, but Sharon didn't want a whole onion, obviously. But I still cut up a whole onion for some reason. It was just sat there on the side. So when I'm making everyone else's, I'm having a little bit of onion every now and again. Every time I walk, because you're smelling it cooking.
Just raw onion, just chomping on
just a bit of raw red onion, like just
absolute dosser. No.
Why is that being a dosser? What's wrong with that?
Just onion in general is dosser tackle, but just chomping on. Do you know what chomping on an onion piece whilst you're cooking? That's Paul Tully tackle. When he eats half of a fucking no stock cube. That's what you've just admitted to. You've now took yourself down to that level.
I hadn't eaten all day, so I'm going to smell everyone else's cheese. Everyone else's
ham. What can I eat in this house? I'll have a bit of onion.
Well, yeah, so I'm basically snacking on I had a bit of cheese, I had a bit of ham, but the onion just sat there and I just kept popping bits of onion in my mouth. And now it's all I can taste, man. And I just feel, whoa, you know?
I have zero sympathy for you. It's very much well-deserved.
Yeah. Obviously, Sharon didn't have a whole onion in her toasted sandwich. She only had a little bit.
So you polished it off, bit it like an apple.
Well, no, because it was all cut up into bits, but these bits are small. So as I'm eating these small bits, I don't realize how much I'm eating. And there weren't a lot of onion thrown away, put it that way. So
waste not, want not. We won't waste onions in this house.
But it's all I can taste. It's like, yeah, you know. And I got my beaker of squash here in my chain wrestling cup there that the wife made, and it's like orange and pineapple.
You put that down with some real force then. The reverb then was like bong.
Well, we'll get to that in a minute. But the taste now of the orange and pineapple mixing with the taste of this onion is like, what, you know?
Well, it's your own fault. Play silly games, win silly prizes. Don't eat raw onion.
Fair enough. Yes, the reverb, the noise, etc. I've got a new setup for the first time since the very beginning of chain wrestling, some 130 episodes ago. I've actually got a microphone plugged in.
And not only just plugged in via one jack instead of a multitude of converting cables.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. And it's got a cool little blue light on it as well, which I think looks pretty tech, you know.
I'll have that one. It's got a blue light.
If I press this button,
it turns off.
Yeah, it mutes me. But I was trying to say it goes red, but obviously you can't see that because it's up there. But that's what it does. It's cool. And I can press it again
when it's muted.
It goes red when it's muted, and it can go green because when I'm talking to it, it's like picking my voice up that way. But I can make it go green, and it can pick my voice up all over the place. But I'm not going to go wandering around, so I don't need that. But yeah, so that's why you might hear a few bangs and clunks and extra noises today, because I'm still getting used to having this here rather than my old trusty headset, which is here just in case something goes wrong.
Only you would need a spare headset and microphone.
Yeah. Well, there was one show. Do you remember we went live once and I tried to wire my old microphone up, and just as we went live, it stopped working.
Hmm.
So you basically sat there and slagged me off for 5 minutes whilst I frantically tried to search around and plug something else in.
I tend to always be involved with people who can't work microphones. Dan Griffin will remember this. One of the latest episodes of the All Vision series, Morty and Fitch decided to do their parts in the same build. And they had two mics plugged in, obviously, because there's two people. And the
Right.
amount of reverb we were getting through them two guys was horrific. And they couldn't, for the life in them, come up with the solution of just use one mic. It'll pick up both your voices. You're in the same room. No,
Yeah.
wouldn't sink in. So we spent a good 10 minutes them trying to solve it. We got a good shot of I think it was Morty's pants. It all collapsed. But yeah, I podcast with some fucking idiots, don't I?
You do. You do. You do. And on that lovely note, good afternoon, good evening, good morning, wherever and whenever you may be listening or watching from. This is Chain Wrestling Live with Mags and Si, an SJP World Media Production, episode 130. And what are we now? 98?
98 live, yes.
Nearly 100 live episodes, Mags. Crazy.
Yeah.
Blows my little mind, my friend.
I know. You'll have to start counting on your other hand now, aren't you?
I got that many fingers. I'm not from Stroud. I am Si, and with me, as always, is the general manager to my general janitor, the trash truck to my fat fur lad, a podcaster who always has to have a good defense lawyer on standby because you know how he gets. We all know the podfather himself, Lord Mags. How are you, my friend?
My lawyer is always on a retainer. That's facts. Yeah, I'm doing really, really well. Yourself?
Yeah, well,
apart from the jippy tummy.
Well, I've got a problem with my tooth as well, mate. It doesn't
hurt. With your what?
My tooth.
The fuck's that? Your tooth?
My tooth. My tooth. Yeah, that's what I said. My tooth.
Tooth.
My tooth. My tooth. Then my tooth.
I hate Gloucester. Such a common place, isn't it?
Oh yeah, because you say like
they butchered the Queen's English.
Yeah, because you sound like you're fucking like some sort of royalty on some level, don't you? My knife, my wife,
my tough.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway, did I ever tell you about when I ate a pot noodle and found a bit of metal in it?
I vaguely remember you mentioning it. Yeah.
Yeah, a big chunk of metal in my pot noodle at work. And I was so pissed off because it really hurt my mouth when I was eating this. So I took a picture of it, sent it to Golden Wonder via Twitter, complaining and saying, what the fuck's this all about? Basically trying to get some free pot noodles, I'm not going to lie.
And they told you to fuck off.
Well, basically, what it turned out was I went out the back of the warehouse after I finished eating my pot noodle for a vape or a smoke or whatever I was doing at that time. And when I breathed in, I realised that piece of metal was actually a filling out of my mouth.
Oh.
So it wasn't in the pot noodle at all. It had actually come from me.
Did you follow up and apologise to Golden Wonder online?
No.
You just still held out for those free pot noodles.
Hey, mate, a Bombay bad boy is a Bombay bad boy. Do you know what I mean?
That is very true. That is very true. Did you get any free Bombay bad boys?
Didn't get any. I imagine
that looks suspiciously like your own filling, sir.
I imagine the social media team at Golden Wonder went, "This fucking idiot, man. This is blatantly out of his own gob." You know.
They just looked at your Twitter line and went, "Yeah, he's from Gloucester. He's lucky he even has teeth." So yeah.
Jesus Christ, Max. Anyway, that tooth has been, it's basically had a hole in it for yonks, and then it cracked and I lost a bit of it and so on. I was over my in-laws yesterday and I had something to eat and I went, oh God, what was that? And basically the one side of it has just completely come away. So now I've got a whole massive hole in my mouth. It's just a big freaking gap now. It's so weird.
So you've no tooth there?
I have, but it's about this big, tiny little,
like a little sliver.
Yeah, exactly.
And I bet you play with it with your tongue. I bet you're always annoying it with your tongue.
I'm doing that right now, actually. There's this little sharp bit that needs to go away, but it won't. It's really irritating. But yeah, it's not been a good couple of days, mate. I feel jippy because of the onion. I've been knackered mid-turf, you know?
Well, it's a good job you've got chain wrestling to put you in a good mood.
There we go. There we go.
Look at that
Shall we?
professional. 10 minutes of waffling bollocks and then straight back into the show. Segued beautifully.
Oh, exactly, mate. Exactly. Shall we dive into the chat and see who has joined us? Early
Yes,
doors.
please shall. Early doors, straight away, King's Pigs Better. And again, thank you so much for the artwork to start the show. I mean, he did even give us 2 options again this week, but this time I've gone with the chicken one because obviously I'm a chickenophile. But he starts the ball off with, he loved his chickens more than anything in the world. Well, we'll get to that. He fed them, cared for them, and talked to them every day. He named them after his favorite celebrities and gave them colorful hats. I would so give them colorful hats. He was happy with his chickens, and they were happy with him. He is a chicken whisperer. He is Mr. Mags. I am a chicken whisperer, and that wasn't. I've not got a problem with the chickens, but I have got a bit of context about loving them more than anything. But we'll get into it later. King's Pigs Bladder then says, "Evening, gents," and then Sharon with the weekly. It's Monday night. You know what that means. Dan Griffin, evening, sir, evening, Mags, evening, CWF, and a big hello to the one true star of chain wrestling, Big Bob. That's amazing. It's the first thing I mentioned when Sar come onto the stream. Oh, the Bear's back, which is
made me feel really, really welcome, by the way.
And here's the big old letdown, himself. Konor says, "Hello, Mags and Sar. Sorry I couldn't join today. The Home Inspector had to show up today, writing a notice, which is nice. I apologize for not showing up. The loan deal is off. Yeah, we just couldn't come to terms with you moving over to Gloucester City. It happens. Laugh is, it always tries to get in the way. So not to be sorry about. It is what it is, sir. Never mind. Don't worry yourself about it.
You mentioned Gloucester City there. Have you seen?
Oh shit!
What?
Just I've got you off on a tangent, and you're going to wax lyrical about Gloucester City.
Well, first of all, pre-season, great set of results. Season starts soon. We're looking good. But secondly, have you seen the kits that Gloucester City got this season? The home and away shirts.
I think I looked them up on purpose. I think we were doing a stream, and I wanted to look up the Gloucester City colours, and then I didn't do anything with it. But is it the green? Is it green and yellow?
Green and white is the away kit.
Green and white, yeah.
And red and yellow is the home kit.
Red and yellow, that's it, yeah.
Yeah, they are lovely. That's it. That's the only side track I was going on.
Brilliant. Sharon.
You're such a prick.
Sharon, we've got to crack on. So we've got to crack on. Sharon, Big Bob, baby. Scottish Danny, hello, sir. How are you? It says, hey, you're CWF. King's Pigs Batter saying hello to Konor and Dan. Again, the old normal back slapper of our little group, and we absolutely love it. Turns out Sar juiced an onion. Jesus. Oh. I mean, eating onions is fucking horrific in the first place, but eating them raw whilst you're making other more tasty food and you're snacking down. Yeah.
It weren't like it was a white onion, it was a red one.
That makes the world of difference.
I think you'll find it does.
Okay. I will never, ever know. Dan Griffin says, I wasn't there for the latest vision. I was on the men from Being Slightly Dead. Who was there then? I think Matt Butler was. Ben was. No, I don't think.
Pig Spudders on there?
No, I don't think he was.
Oh, okay. That might have been the pub quiz.
No, we didn't play them in the pub quiz. We beat Ranter Masters. Well, we didn't just beat them, we demolished Ranter Masters.
Me and my big brain.
You and the ladder. That was really that question. Dan then also says he doesn't have that many fingers. He can only count to 21 if he's naked and had a blue chew. Sharon already straight away calling your name. You're just a bad one. Dan Griffin says, Mags, you can't mock Sar for saying tooth and then come at him for saying tongue instead of tongue. Tongue.
That sounded exactly the same.
Tongue and yeah, they are the same.
Tongue.
Tongue.
Not tong, tongue.
Tongue.
No, that's not no tongue. There's a
Where's
sound after.
No, it's tongue, that tongue, and
Like,
tongue.
yeah, tong, as in tongs, like the barbecue. Tong, tongs, right? And then tongue has got letters after the G, so it's tongue. There's a noise after the G, isn't there?
Nobody in the world goes Tonga.
No,
Unless your first name's Tama and you called Tama
God.
Tonga. No one says the It's tongue.
You're in one of those moods, aren't you? This is going to be one of those shows.
I'm always in one of those moods. Sometimes I'm just good at harding it. Pig's Banner trying to just stir this pot says it's impossible to give yourself a Tonga job. I don't know. I bet I could have a good go at that.
A Tonga job sounds like some sort of weird sex act you pay for in like the Pacific or whatever.
Jesus Christ.
And on the queue, here's my daughter. Fantastic.
$10. Yeah, that's very awkward. Hello, Anya.
Hello.
Good evening to you, Jay, and the pub. And then we'll finish off for this one. He's not done a vision yet, but the new pub quiz is out tomorrow featuring him and Dan. What a tag team that is. What a tag team.
I bet there's some knowledge being put forward on that episode.
I think you were being serious then, but it just sounded like mockery.
I was being deadly serious.
Mockery.
And then you spit all over your desk because you're laughing at them.
We'd whoop them. We took out probably the cleverest of the motley crew we're involved in. So we beat everyone. Oh, even better, they were on opposite sides. So Jesus, 0-0 draw anyone.
In recent episodes of Mags v Sai, I don't think we can criticize anyone else for low scores when it comes to answering.
I mean, we didn't do bad with the punk one. Was it 2 apiece?
Something like that, mate.
Yeah. And then we'll finish with this one for now. Would it be a CW show without some sex joke thrown in or calling people cunt?
Oh, for goodness sake. It's 9 o'clock. It's not...
That's the watershed, sir.
Okay. Right. Before we get into anything else, there is something I wish to do. There is somebody that means the great world to me. Well, not just her, the whole family do. My sister, as I mentioned before, is one of my best friends, and she has her family. Alex, her chap, is also one of my best friends, and then we've got her kids as well. Blake, who's in his 20s now, fantastic young lad, and then we've got my 2 nieces, Amber and Lola. Lola, and Amber are both type 1 diabetic, which obviously comes with various challenges and issues with regards to life and so on, and with lockdown and all this, and issues with school. The issues being with the school, by the way. Not Lola and Amber are fantastic, so I just want to put that forward. It's been a bit of a tricky time at times, but I want to sing Lola's praises. She is absolutely fantastic, and the way that whole family deals with the type 1 diabetes and the issues that, obviously it's completely life-changing to have 1 type 1 diabetic child, never mind 2. Lola, in her spare time and whatever, has basically become quite the artist. She loves anything art orientated, and what I would like to do now is basically give her a shout out to a little project that she is putting forward. That starts, basically is open now, I believe, but the official launch date is tomorrow. And that is an Etsy store that Lola has set up called Lolly Lou Art. And it features a lot of her own particular designs, a lot of her own artwork and so on. So some fantastic, it's starting initially with a collection of stickers that you can purchase for a couple of quid a pop. It's well worth the money. And for me personally, it would be an absolutely fantastic thing if the CWF could support Lola in this venture. You can see, if you're watching on the live version or watching back later on at any point, you can see the Lolly Lou art scrolling underneath our beautiful faces just there with a website to the Etsy store there. We will also tweet out the website address and so on, the link, so you can just click on it and go straight there as well. And you've got various items there, various designs and so on, little drawings and sketches and computer generated art that Lola's been working on. I mean, and she's still very young. She's still effectively of school age, and she's been working on this herself for a great deal of time. And these shots and these images are so professional, well worth checking out. I will send the tweet out literally now as we speak, so people can have a little look if you wish. Click on the link, let us know what you think in the chat and so on. But yeah, Chain Wrestling Family, CWF, I would love it very, very much if people would just take a little look, share the tweet, share the link, and just support Lola in any way you possibly can. That would be amazing. Thank you very much.
Yep. So for people listening on the audio, that link is etsy.com/uk/shop/LollyLouArt, and that's LOLLRLOUART.
There we go. I've just tweeted it out now. So go and have a look and go and treat yourself. Like I said, it's a couple of quid, and there's going to be more designs and more. I mean, at the moment, like I said, it's a range of stickers and images that she's done there, but there's going to be more goodies being added all the time. So yeah, good luck to you, Lola. It's great to see somebody, somebody so young trying to do something that they're passionate about and trying to make themselves a few quid at the same time. I reckon that's fantastic, Magsy.
Great entrepreneurship. Yeah, absolutely.
It is. It is indeed. It is indeed. We're doing something different today, aren't we?
We are, but can we just get to the chicken news first?
Yes. Okay, let's do that.
Chicken News with Mags, only on Chain Wrestling.
You see, something goes wrong in the plan, and you just fall to absolute pieces, don't you?
Do you know what? I've never, well, not never. That's wrong. But I've not had my format for the show open for probably about 6 weeks because I've got so used to what we're doing. And
but when
that's how professional I am, mate.
Yeah, it's just amazing how just it's like muscle memory now, isn't it?
Yeah, that's it, mate. That's it. Well, nearly 100 live shows. And you could see Chain Wrestling 100 live on Sunday the 13th.
Look at it.
Sunday, not Monday, Sunday, the 13th of August, 7 p.m. start time. Make sure you are joining us there for a very special show. 100 live episodes. Amazing.
I feel like I've molded a professional podcaster from a basic lump of clay to the professional that you become.
I'm a basic lump of something. Anyway.
So before I get into this week's chicken news, I just want to touch back on King Pig's Bladder's comment here. He says he loved his chickens more than anything in the world. And I said, well, we'll get to that. Now, that sounded like I'd fallen out with the chickens, but no, that's definitely not the case. It just reminded me of something that I say to the wife a lot. So as some people will know, we have 4 granddaughters. They came along like buses, all in quick succession. So I went from having no grandchildren whatsoever, then in the space of 2 years having 4. But that meant when I said to the wife, "You've gone from being the number 1 person who I love to now being number 5." And she's like, even though it's horrible, I'll take that. And then I said to her a couple of weeks ago, "You do realize now that you're like number 14 in the list of things I love?" And she's like, "Why am I number 14?" I said, "Because I've got 8 other girls that I would jump in front of a bullet before you." So
amazing.
She was not happy at that. Anyway, on to today's chicken news, and this is just a follow-up from something that you asked about the other day. You was asking how a certain chicken that's inextricably linked to yourself. You're asking how Charlie the chicken. And yeah, I just thought I'd let the rest of the CWF know. I mean, how weird is this? A wrestling podcast, and everyone's so invested in a bunch of chickens. But the
thing is, it's a wrestling podcast, and our wrestling section of the show this week doesn't even have any wrestling in it.
Well, it has 2 wrestling moves.
Well, okay. So more than most John Cena matches.
Oh. So yeah, I just thought I'd share how Charlie's doing. Yeah, so Charlie is the biggest of the new chickens. She's basically just coming on leaps and bounds. She was already the kind of it's hard to say leader because they don't really have a leader, but she was she's the one that the other little chickens look to for chicken protection. She's like the mobster of the little chickens
against the older chickens. You mean? Like
yeah.
protection from the older ones?
So what happens with when you introduce new chickens to a group is the older chickens kind of like bully the newer ones to basically tell them we're in charge here. This is our flock. You basically know your place. And Charlie was the first one of the younger chickens to stand up to the other chickens.
Amazing.
So she doesn't get bullied anymore. And by bullying, it's a natural thing. It's not like chickens are just like waiting for him outside of school to steal the lunch with her or anything like that.
Chicken school.
But all the other three younger chickens go to Charlie, like they hover around her as like protection, hanging around with the hard kid. So yeah, she's the cock of the younger chickens. So
That's
I just
amazing.
thought I'd share that information with you. Yeah.
That is amazing. Fantastic stuff. Oh, I'll tell Charlie. Hopefully she'll hear this. I don't know if she will because she's planning a time. I mentioned my nieces. Amber is Charlie's best mate, basically, and she's planning a time to go and see her this week. So they're on a WhatsApp call somewhere in the house and have been all day plotting what they're doing this weekend. So she might not be watching the live show, which is upsetting, Charlie. I'm not gonna lie, but I'll pass that on about how her chicken namesake is doing so well.
Yeah. And just defending all the other younger chickens. Just amazing. Amazing work by Charlie, the young chicken.
That is awesome. Oh, brilliant stuff. Maxie, what are we supposed to be doing now? And I'm not asking for the sake of me being unprofessional for a change. I mean that you've got a surprise. No. We're doing something different, you said. So what are we doing?
So, as we mentioned earlier, Konor was meant to be a guest and he's absolutely shit the bed and really kind of ruined it for us. So cheers, Konor. Cheers. But no, Si and I spoke, and with the potential of having Konor on, we didn't think there'd be enough time to maybe fit in all the segments that we do without running over. So we was actually going to give Mags v Si a miss this week. But I had a little idea in the back of my mind that we could potentially fit in, and with Konor being unable to make the show, we definitely could fit it in now. And it's something that I wanted to basically get all of the Cedar Ref involved in. We normally do the quiz, and the Cedar Ref just sit and watch, but I'd like to see him get involved. So I've found a quiz, and it's off a website called Sporkle. And this is a list of all the people who have been WWE or WWF champion. So you get a time limit, and there's 54 people. I don't know how up to date this list is. It does have 2021, so I assume it's pretty up to date because of obviously Roman Reigns taking the titles and combining them into the Uwu, whatever it is. But yeah, I thought we could see if we could beat this quiz. 8 minutes, 54 champions.
Okay.
So what you do is once you press play, a box will come up where you type in the name. Obviously, that'll be my job. But between me, Si, and you lovely people in the CWF, let's see if we can smash this quiz in 8 minutes, essentially.
Okay, so this is WWE, WWF champions going
Yes.
back to 1963, is it?
Yeah, from the very beginning of the WWF, or I would assume. It's not World Heavyweight Champions, though. It's WWE, WWF Champions. The first pick.
Okay,
this is the level we're having,
Barry,
folks. I mean, he's the only potential Barry.
I want to say Pig's Bladders as well. There's a comment a bit further up in the chat. He says he's been to have a look at my niece Lola's site already, and says that these drawings and that are fantastic. She's really there. You go, Magsy, bringing the comment up there. She's really talented. Those stickers are awesome. So people dive on that. The link is at the bottom of the page there, and on our Twitter as well. So dive on in, have a little look, get yourself something nice, and support my niece in this little venture of hers. It'll be hugely appreciated.
So, Sir, you will have 2 jobs in this then, obviously shouting out names, but also keeping an eye on the chat for any names that the CWF threw out, because obviously I'll be busy typing.
This sounds like you're putting a lot of pressure on me, mate.
Of reading? Pressure of reading. Okay.
Yeah, there's going to be a clock ticking as well, and all the names. And
let's just do it. We can do this. 54. We can get these, surely.
Okay. Right.
Are we ready? 3, 2, 1. Let's go. So we can get them in any order. So let's go with Roman Reigns. I think it puts in automatically when you finish typing it. We've got Ric Flair there, I believe. Yeah.
Sid as well. We have a shout from Pig's Bladders.
Got Sid.
Orton. We have a shout there from Pig's Bladders as well.
Nailed it. So we've got
Buddy Rogers from Dan Griffin.
Buddy Rogers. Let's have a look.
You'll be the first.
Yep.
Seth Rollins from Dan Griffin. No, sorry, Seth Rollins from Pig's Bladders as well.
I've gone for Pedro Morales. So Seth Rollins. Yep.
Hulk Hogan from Dan Griffin.
Hogan.
So Brock Lesnar from Pig's Bladders and from Sharon.
Warrior. I've gone for. Spelled Brock wrong. Brilliant. Brock Lesnar. Yep.
Rey Mysterio from Anya.
Was he not? Yeah, he was. I thought he was only world heavyweight champion.
Okay. Iron Sheik from Dan Griffin.
Yep.
Sergeant Slaughter from me.
Slaughter.
Sharon in the chat there saying, do we need to add their names multiple times?
I think it doesn't. They could have 1 run or 100 runs. It doesn't matter. Yeah. It's just the name.
This will be the date of their first reign, won't it? I guess.
We'll have Sammartino. It'll help if I tapped.
Bret Hart is a shout from Scottish Danny.
Good shout.
John Cena from Anya. Good shout there. Kevin Owens as well from Pig's Bladders.
Punk. Kevin Owens. Was he WWE champion though? Oh, Kevin Owens doesn't count.
Does he not?
It was the universe. It was the red belt, weren't it?
The Universal. Shawn Michaels, of course. How can we forget that? Kevin Nash, Diesel.
Diesel, correct.
Triple H, Sharon says.
Good one. Yep.
Pig's Bladders and Anya shouting out Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Yep.
Dan Griffin with Mankind and Pig's Bladders throwing out The Undertaker.
Look at you guys flying through these. It's a bit concerning that we're not nailing these very early ones. So might as well get Bob Backlund in the mix.
Yeah, Bob Backlund, of course. Anya shouted out Shane McMahon there, but it wasn't. It was Vince McMahon, wasn't it? I don't think Shane was the title holder.
Shane was the European champion, weren't he? Vince McMahon. Yes. Yeah. Dean Ambrose.
Dean Ambrose, of course. Daniel Bryan, Anya shouts as well. That's a good one. Pig's Bladders with AJ Styles as well.
AJ Styles. Yep.
Stasiak.
Stan Stasiak. Yeah.
Stasiak. He had it for was it 6 days he held it for?
Any more guys?
Sergeant Slaughter. Have we got Sergeant Slaughter yet? We have.
Yeah, we've done Slaughter.
Ivan Koloff, Dan says in the chat.
Not even tapping it there. That'd be fun. Am I spelling that right? I don't know if I'm. There we go.
Yeah, Billy Graham, Dan says as well.
Was Billy Graham champion?
Yeah, he was for a period, wasn't he, in the 70s?
Yeah, he certainly was.
Anya with Drew McIntyre and Pig's Bladders with Iron Sheik. Have we had Iron Sheik yet?
Yeah, and she's gone.
Okay, Jinder from Scottish Danny and Dan Griffin.
One of the best champions ever.
Amazing. Oh my goodness, I'm really racking my brains now. I'm actually really racking my brains. This is more again being put on the spot, isn't it? It's tricky.
Bobby Lashley.
Okay. Dolph Ziggler. Did we get Dolph Ziggler?
Kofi Kingston. I'll put Dolph next. Dolph. Ziggle Piggle Pudding Pants. I spelled it wrong, haven't I? What a clown. Dolph Ziggler must have been world heavyweight champion because
right. Yeah, it's a big gold, wasn't it? Dan Griffin with a shout for Big E.
Big E, yeah.
Konor with a great shout there, The Miz.
Doing well, guys. Doing well. Only 15 to go.
Okay, let me think. 90s champions. Yokozuna.
Yep.
Dan is shouting Kane, 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 Kane.
A one-day reign, yep.
Yeah. Jeff Hardy from Dan as well.
Edge.
Yeah. Scottish Danny shouting out Rob Van Dam.
Yep.
Where I got to go right into the screen to see the years now.
So we've got 88, 98, 99.
Okay, is
2000,
88
2001.
Is 88
2004.
potentially Andre the Giant? I know it was stripped from him, but
Andre the Giant, yep.
there you go. Okay, Dan is shouting out The Rock, of course. How do we forget The Rock? We're idiots.
Rock.
Strowman from Pig's Brothers.
Strowman is not one. It don't look like.
Okay, Anya shouting out Christian, but I think he was world champion, wasn't he?
Yeah, and only given because WWE felt guilty.
Yes, indeed. Okay, let me have a look at these dates again. What have we got left here? Is that 2000 we got left in 2001? Kurt Angle.
Spell Eddie Guerrero wrong then. So Kurt Angle. Yep.
Okay. 2001 would be Jericho, wouldn't it, at the end of the year?
Chris Jericho.
Yeah.
So 2 in 2004.
2004. Oh my word. This is
Guys,
me
we've
now.
got 6 left.
Carly, Pigs Brothers says.
He's not world heavyweight. I don't think he
I think
was.
he might have been.
Yeah.
JBL, Scottish Danny shouting out there.
Oh, shout. Well played.
I need to check my eyes tested, man. Okay,
So
1999. 1999. Oh, champion from 99. First title reign in 99.
There's one in 2017 that we haven't got as well. That's shocking.
Oh my goodness. 2017. I'm racking my brains. I can't. Eddie, Dan Griffin says we got Guerrero, didn't we?
I don't think we did. I don't think it spelled his name out. And I'm sure was it not the undisputed title? What about Benoit?
Oh, Benoit, of course. That was the world title, wasn't it, in 2004? Pigs Brothers is giving a shout out for himself. King's Pigs Brothers. I don't think he's
Eddie Guerrero. We've got, yep.
Big Show. Dan Griffin says.
Mark Henry. He was ECW champion, wasn't he?
He was. Oh my goodness.
3 to go in 10 seconds. I think we've done well, but
I think we have. I can't even think. Does it give us the answers afterwards?
I think he does.
Okay. Oh,
Batista.
So what did we miss? Oh,
Alberto Del Rio and Bray Wyatt.
Pigs Brothers, literally just as it closed, shouting out Bray Wyatt there. Look.
We nailed it though. 51 out of 54.
Great. That was fantastic. Well done, everyone in the chat. And
this website, Sporkle, has lots and lots of these WWE quizzes, so I'm sure we can revisit this in a future episode.
Yeah, brilliant. I enjoyed that. Let us know in the chat what you all think of that. If you want to do some more of those in future episodes, I think that was good fun.
And also, well done, guys. Absolutely well done. You all nailed it.
What was 51 out of 54?
54. Yeah, well played, guys.
Brilliant stuff. Well done, everyone. Magsy, I enjoyed that, but I'm stressed now. The pressure is too much, mate.
Well, let's just calm it down now and go to the the non-wrestling topic of the week.
Yes, let's do it.
NWT time. Oh, no wrestling talk here. It's the non-wrestling topic.
Lovely.
Nice.
Lovely.
Nice.
Ooh, lovely.
Lovely.
Belch.
Belch. Okay. This week's non-wrestling topic is what I worded as random thoughts, but it seems everyone else calls them shower thoughts, Maxie.
Yeah. That's what I've always known them as, shower thoughts, yeah.
Yeah, okay. And a few examples that I found online to try and sort of, again, I suppose literally that, use as examples for people. I mean, if you kill a killer, the number of killers in the world stays the same.
Yeah.
That sort of
Because
vibe, isn't
you
it?
become a killer, yes.
Exactly. Is the S or the C in scent silent?
Or is it both? No, but then
Well,
if
no,
it was both, it'd be ent.
It'd just be ent, wouldn't it, you dumbass? Yeah. We had quite a few come in. Some more serious, some more sort of from the angle of reflection for that particular person, but a lot more kind of just random shouts, random vibes, random thoughts. And I think we could have some fun picking a few of these apart, Magsy.
We can, because some of them are very thought-provoking, and then some are just stupid.
Yeah.
The CWF covers the whole gamut of shower thoughts.
Thought-provoking and a bit stupid. I think it should be the tagline for this show.
Look at that,
Kind of
straight
sums
away.
up.
This is the level we've come to. Unless you kill two killers. Yeah, see, we've already found a flaw in one of these shower thoughts. So,
But the shower thought was literally if you kill a killer, as in single killer. No plural of the killers.
there we go. So we've picked apart your
Picking apart.
reasoning there.
There we go. And it's funny we mentioned Dan Griffin, because I will go through them, as always, Magsy, in the order they arrived into us, sort of, in a way. First up, we have Dan Griffin at Dan Griffin 21 on Twitter. Incidentally, Doctor Who pod this week. We had an absolute blast recording it. Came out very late today because someone forgot to upload the show. Just going to leave that hanging there.
That'd be you.
It was me. Dan says, why does your nose run and your feet smell?
I mean, it does make sense, but I think it's this because your feet give off a smell, so you smell it, and the snot runs out of your nose. So that's what it means. But
start talking about snot.
The mucus, then. Mucus.
Sharon,
what if you'd already killed and then killed the killer? Look at what this. I said to you that this would happen. That these people will go too far. Look,
it's just going to be a big debate now about how many.
It's going to be 4 hours long. This show.
Yeah.
As we just pick apart everything.
Dan continues. If a comedian sits down, are they still a stand-up?
What about comedians in wheelchairs?
Ah, interesting. Because they never stand up.
Lazy bastards.
No, not no. Okay, fair enough. Let's go down that road then, shall we? And see that can be what we wonder if we can get cancelled about this week for insulting the disabled. Brilliant. My God. Dan also says, if soup is essentially water and vegetables or meat and fish, then the sea is technically soup, which would make swimmers croutons.
Why would it? Surely we would just be part of the meat, vegetables, and fish.
I suppose because we're crunchy, aren't we?
But a raw fish, do they not have bones? Are they not crunchy?
Yeah, but you normally find that their bones are like really skinny bones, and they don't, it's not like our bones.
What about things like sea lions then? Do you think they'd be crunchy?
Have sea lions got skeletons? Oh no, hang on. I'm thinking of a seahorse.
Because they're the same.
Well, yeah, it threw me a little bit. Sea lions, yeah, they were, but do they live in the sea then? Because they need to breathe oxygen, don't they?
They live on land, but they go this fish in the sea. They go hunting for food in the sea.
Right, so they're not like fish then, are they? So that was a
So-
bad example.
Right. But humans don't live in the sea. But yeah, Dan has put forward that we are croutons. But surely if we're in the
we're-
in the sea, we're part of the soup.
We're added afterwards, though, and croutons get added after to the soup, don't they? So
Yeah, I
it works.
suppose.
Hey, it works. It works.
I'm only agreeing so we can move on. And this is going to be a running theme.
Dan also says, if your first birthday is your first birthday actually your second birthday, because your first birthday should surely be the day of your birth,
That's true. That is actually true.
right?
But
sure,
you're not celebrating the birthday, it's the number of years that you have been alive.
yeah, I am one today. That's because it is.
Oh, you're not. You're literally like 42.
You really struggled with that then, didn't you?
I couldn't remember if you were 43 or not.
Yeah, no, that's right. Yeah, so when you're born, that's your birth date, isn't it?
Yeah, and then your birthdays are celebrating the number of years that you have been on the earth.
There we go. Pigs Bladders at Pigs Bladders on
Yeah,
Twitter.
just totally miss out the rest of Dan's. It's okay.
Is there more? Is there?
Yeah, so he's put all thumbs
yeah.
are fingers, but not all fingers are thumbs.
I've got them. I've got it. I skipped too far forward in my screenshots. All right. All thumbs.
You're all thumbs today.
I am, mate. I am all over the place. Oh, I keep getting mesmerized by my new microphone. It's really sexy. All thumbs are fingers, but not all fingers are thumbs. I don't know about that because so is your thumb a finger as well? Then is it?
It's an appendage, isn't it?
Right.
It's the same as a finger. It does the same job. It's for the sake of gripping.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. I'll buy that one. Maybe oxygen is killing us, but it just takes years to do so.
Yeah, it's a slow poison. Slow poison. Yeah.
Wow. That's proper. You don't want to be drinking.
That's
or
conspiracy
smoking.
theory talk, that, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. I'll tell you what, the next one is the birthday one. So how have I missed out those top two?
Because, I mean, how do you do any of the things that you do?
I don't know, man. I'm starting to really worry, to be fair. Anyway, Pigs Bladders at Pigs Bladders on Twitter, the Photoshop wizard himself. He says, how do they make the non-stick surface stick to a frying pan?
Okay. I mean, I vaguely know the answer to this.
Okay.
So what happens is it's obviously Teflon, the non-stick. So what they do is on one side of it, they smash it with ionized. I think it's ionized air or something like that. So basically, Teflon is a plastic. It's tetrafluoroethylene or something like that. And they smash it with this ionized air to get rid of all the fluorine, which is the part that makes the Teflon non-stick. And what this does on the underlayer makes it sticky essentially. And then they blast it with loads of heat, so it's red hot, and then press it into the pan so the coating then sticks. And then when it cools down, it's the top layer is still tetra fluoroethylene or whatever it is, and then the bottom layer is stuck. So that's how they do that.
Okay. Welcome to science lessons. Non-stick pans, when you make something with them, food still sticks to them though.
Not at the beginning. It does after use when the Teflon, like anything else, it wears away.
Because I had this, shall we say, argument's too strong a word. Shall we say we were talking loudly, my wife and I? And,
so it's magic then. Yes, it's magic.
Big fathers in the chat, brilliant. Yeah, and basically I had to use like a scouring pad or a bit of wire wool to get something off the non-stick pan. And Sharon was saying you're going to take all the non-stick off the non-stick pan. And I was like, well, if I if I have to use the wire wool, surely it's not non-stick anymore because something's stuck to it.
Yeah. So what's probably happened is it's got macro scratches from your utensils, which has then caused stickage.
And to be fair, I did fuck the pan up, so Sharon's kind of right. But
But using anything metal on Teflon is always a bad idea.
Well, I know that now. Pigs Butters continues. Why is belly button fluff always a different color to the top you're wearing?
Right. So belly button fluff is it's the gathering of fibers, and it's usually the color of the items of clothing that you wear the most color of. So if you wear a lot of black t-shirts, it's likely that your belly button fluff would be black. But when you pick it out, you might be wearing a yellow t-shirt, and you'll be like, "Oh, why have I got black belly button fluff whilst I'm wearing a yellow t-shirt?" So it's not that t-shirt you're currently wearing; it's an amalgamation of all the t-shirts that you've been wearing.
There we go. Again, welcome to Science with Mags. I'm enjoying this. Join us next week on Chain Wrestling when we discuss the JFK assassination. And I don't like belly button talk anyway, man. You know, like certain things make people cringe. Belly button's one of those things for me. I hate it.
Yeah, same with the wife. She cannot stand it. Even if I say I'm going to do like stick a finger in her belly button, she absolutely goes mental. She goes mental.
I said to you before about I don't like heights, and if I have to climb a ladder or if I'm up high for work or anything like that, my feet go all funny.
Mm-hmm.
My feet go funny if somebody touches their belly button or something like that in front of me as well. It's almost the same feeling.
Man does that when people bite wool. So do you know, like when people will like chew the cuffs of their jumper? Oh my god, it's the worst feeling. Honestly, I'm turning up thinking about someone doing it.
Oh, it's horrible. Pigs Butters says, if you give a cat or dog kebab from your local takeaway, does that make it a cannibal?
I mean, I don't really want to go to the kebab takeaways that Pigs Butters goes to if he's convinced that they are made of cat or dog. I mean, you want to at least you need that grey area though. Like, this might be cat or dog. You don't want it confirmed. So I'm worried. Don't go to those takeaways again.
It's probably not good for the cat or dog anyway, because it's quite solid.
To eat their own kind.
Yeah, probably not. I suppose cats would. Cats eat anything, don't they?
Well, our cat won't. Our cat does not eat chicken.
No, we probably eat a dead cat though. You hear stories.
I mean, most cats are just waiting for their humans to die so they can eat them anyway.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. You hear stories all the time about people dying and cats. Yeah, well, there you go. Heinz lied about 57 varieties. What else are they hiding?
Well, I mean, what it was it Henry Heinz? I think the boss of Heinz. I think he thought that 57 was a lucky number. So they actually were selling like 65 varieties when he came up with the 57, and now they sell like thousands and thousands, but they still stick with 57.
What, of different varieties of baked beans?
No, different products altogether.
Oh, I was going to say, because there's not
how many different. Do you think Heinz only do baked beans?
No, I know. No, they do like ketchup and shit as well. Of course, like bolognese, like what are them little bits of pasta with the meat in the middle? What's that called? Ravioli. You can get like Heinz tin ravioli and all that sort of stuff. Okay, what are you laughing at now?
Of all the three things to pick off from the Heinz repertoire, ravioli. Yeah. But I think it's because it was he felt it was a lucky number. Henry J. Heinz, I think his name was.
Lying bastard.
Yeah, I mean, who would buy? I've physically boycott Heinz now because of the way they price gouged through I mean, I'm not a massive Heinz lover anyway, but when the cost of living crisis was at its peak, they put their prices up by a ridiculous amount. So
did they?
It was like £2 for a tin of Heinz beans.
Whoa, that's ridiculous.
Yeah. So
Branston's are better anyway.
Well, a million times better. But we boycott in this house now. Heinz. This is a non-Heinz house.
Yeah, fair enough, mate. Rob at UTT Rob on Twitter, he says, how come shower gel, shampoo, soap leaves the shower tiles so dirty? Surely it should self-clean.
I mean, that does make sense, but I think is it not the oils and the fats and the oxidization in the gel? I think it's that.
I guess. I'm just going to go along with what you say.
Brilliant. You just-
MGB Graham, we've got an odd
This-
one. Just
this is a brilliant one. This actually blew my mind that someone's actually come up with this.
okay, so we'll label them A, B, C, D, shall we? So people in the chat can shout out what they think.
Mhm.
How would a centaur poop and pee? And we've got 4 images in front of us. And if you're listening on the audio podcast version later in the week, please jump onto Twitter and have a little look at what MGB Graham sent us so you can check it out and give us your thoughts. How would a centaur poop and pee, Mags? What are you thinking?
So, just for context, we've got the 4 centaurs, and we've got someone's drawn jeans, pairs of jeans on the centaurs. Now, the first one here is the jeans covering all 4 of the legs and kind of like low riders, and it's got peeing at the front of the centaur's legs and pooing at the back of the centaur's legs. The second image has got this is ridiculous. I'm describing this. It's got the jeans pulled all the way up the back of the 2 hind legs, and it's got pee at the bottom of the crotch and poo at the top. Then the third image is jeans at the front 2 legs, but the back 2 legs are uncovered. So essentially, they've got a massive hole in the arse of the jeans where the other 2 legs pop out, and it's pee at the crotch and then poo somewhere random, like where a horse's penis would be.
Out of his belly button or something.
And then the last one, he's got all encompassing jeans that are all the way up to his waist and cover all of these, the bottom of his body, and he pisses and poos everywhere out of every single direction.
Yeah.
This is a
Option
tough
D. Option D is just showering shit and piss everywhere, isn't it?
It's essentially wearing pissy poo pants.
Mm. Oh,
For
this
me-
is, believe it or not, a wrestling podcast, just so
Yeah.
everyone's aware.
For me, it's the closest would be B, I would assume.
Look at the concentration on your little face.
It's so hard. It's so hard to put into words this image. But B, where the
Yeah, I think so.
jeans cover the back 2 legs, and the poo comes out the horse's bum, and the pee comes out of the horse's tackle.
Yeah, you think so? Because from the waist down in all those pictures where you can see it,
Danny's used to
horse.
wearing those kind of jeans. Brilliant. And even better, it's like a wish brainiac, isn't it?
yes, it is.
We only answer the pertinent questions here on Chain Wrestling.
Indeed. Ben the Brick Fridge at Witticisms of Ben on Twitter from the Awesome Rantomoisters podcast. I had a fantastic chat with Ben today for Safe Place Sessions. Those episodes are going to start coming out, I think, sometime next week. Magsy, you are guest number 1. That'll be the first one to drop, and then we've got a couple more in the bag as well. So look out
I
for
have
that.
set the mental health bar very high, so you need some real problems if you're going to make a splash in this show. But no, seriously, it was a brilliant chat. I really, I got a lot from it. Me and Si had a very candid conversation. Yeah, I'm glad to have been involved.
Yeah. Oh, cheers, mate. I'm glad you were involved. Ben says, today's thought: should beard growing be an Olympic event?
I mean, why would it be? It's not something you can get
Well, I
better
suppose-
at, surely.
Maybe not an Olympic event, but I suppose you do get people who have like a summer fete or something, and they have like marrow growing competitions and cucumber growing competitions. It's a similar sort of principle, isn't it?
Yeah, but you can do things to affect those growing. You can tend to the plants better. Just like a sport, you can get better at it. You can practice. You can't practice growing a beard.
No, but there must be some science to it. I mean, like, all these oils and balms and all that. Sort of stuff.
They're marketing gimmicks to part idiots with their money.
I've got some of those.
And there we go.
Now,
Now,
but it does. It's not.
beard
It's nice. It
trimming
makes my
and,
beard
like,
really soft.
beard design. Yeah, because it's hair and you're covering it with oil.
Right.
So
I'm not disputing what I'm doing. I'm just
It
telling you
doesn't make it grow amazingly faster, though, does it? You're not going to get the world record for the speed of your beard growth. Like, oh my god, you can watch this guy's beard grow in real time.
Okay. But then isn't it true, Sharon in the chat will probably know the answer to this, being a hairdresser and all that sort of stuff. Isn't it true that hair grows faster when you're sleeping? So if you took like a fuck ton of sleeping pills, that would make your beard grow more, wouldn't it?
And also probably kill you. So
No, I don't mean take enough to kill you, just to make your beard grow.
take enough sleeping tablets to make your beard grow.
Yeah.
Brilliant. But surely if that was an Olympic sport, that would be classed as doping.
Oh yeah. Well, there you go. In that case, no, it can't be an Olympic sport.
Ben, what a ridiculous thought that was.
You're a buffoon and a fool, and I'm disappointed in you.
You're making that up, sir.
Am I?
Brilliant.
I thought I was onto something really clever then.
I love how she just puts you straight in your place. Like you're an idiot.
I swear that's true. I swear hair grows faster when you're sleeping.
I don't know.
I'm gonna have to Google that later. I think I'm right, but I have been known to be wrong in the past once or twice. So
she says the hair grows faster on the side you lie on the most.
Okay, well there you go then.
And it also stops when you die. Actually, your hair and your nails will give off the illusion that they're still growing because your skin loses fluid, it loses its plumpness, so it retracts. So actually, you can technically have more hair growth and nail growth when you die.
Okay, so in that case, then, if you were really dedicated to winning a gold
Just
medal,
kill yourself. Yeah,
you could die, and then kill yourself 2 months beforehand, but make sure your family is still going to turn up at the event and drag you on the stage and whatnot. And yeah, like Weekend at Bernie's, but with gold medals.
Amazing.
Cam at CamGriff92 on Twitter. He said, "Why are ventilation systems in films so clean and seemingly strong enough to hold a rhino? Trust me, they are neither big enough, strong enough, and certainly not clean enough to be crawling through. Now, I refuse to have Die Hard ruined for me. Thank you very much."
I mean, I don't know. They're always massive, aren't they? Ventilation systems.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
It is. But they're not
holding it. I don't think I've ever seen a film where a rhino tries to squeeze through a vent.
No. But I get his point. People are crawling through it and all that, aren't they?
Surely most ventilation systems are just like the polypipe now. Rather than like the tin structures that they were. But
yeah, I guess. Cam continues. Are beanbags boneless sofas? That's quite good. I like that.
Technically, they are. So here's a fun story. Well, not really that fun. Me and the wife once bought a new sofa, and it was ridiculously cheap, like weirdly cheap. And it was not like it was secondhand; it was a brand new sofa. But there was just something on you couldn't put your finger on why it was so cheap. Anyway, it came and got delivered, and it was really light to carry like a 3-piece sofa through like the house. I'm really concerned why this is so light, because normally settees and chairs are pretty heavy, aren't they? So we unpacked the boxes that they came in and took all the lining off, and it turned out it was a 3-piece sofa, and it had the very thinnest wood frame, and then that was covered in blown polystyrene and then carved into the shape of a settee.
Wow.
And then covered in leather. Yeah, ridiculously cheap, but it was comfy. It was comfy, but literally a young child could pick up the settee with no problem. It was that light.
You think of fire risk as well, wouldn't you? Being made of polystyrene.
Yeah, but it probably came from China, to be fair.
Oh, fair enough. Cam also says, how many people are doing the same thing as me right now? Yeah.
Plenty.
I wonder stuff like that sometimes.
How many people are listening to this podcast and saying that they are a nerd for what they do for work?
Cam in
One.
the chat.
I think it's just you, Cam. I'm safe
Yeah,
to
no, I
consider
often
that
wonder.
it's just you, but yeah, I do get that point that when you're in the shower having these thoughts, how many people are having a shower around at that very minute?
It's like, sometimes I think to myself, I wonder how many people are taking a shit right now.
I can't say I've had that thought, but
Or how many people are making a
this.
cup of tea right now.
How many people are eating onion whilst making toasties for people?
Yeah, exactly.
One.
I also
just you.
on the tea thing as well. I also wonder sometimes how many cups of tea have I drank in my life? You know, and also how many cans of lager have I drank in my life?
I predict more than cups of tea.
I don't know about that because I drink tea all day long. No, not lager all day long. I drink lager in the evening. So
But then when you get to the lager, you knock them back quick time.
yeah, I suppose.
You might have a brew every couple of hours, but them cans they chase.
Yeah, that's true. But it makes me wonder how
Not
many
calling you an alcoholic. I'm just saying in general.
how many minutes of my life have I spent watching wrestling or watching football? And I think to myself, there must be a way of figuring that out, but it's far above my station to try and even work on some sort of formula for that.
Yeah. So just let that thought go.
Okay, I'll do that.
Too much. Sharon, I'll live with you. You've definitely drank more cans. There we go.
Okay. Well, that's answered that one. Are things on fire or is fire on things?
I think it's technically that the fire is on things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I reckon.
Even though you would say, oh my God, that very cheap sofa is on fire.
There you go.
It's I'm on fire and burning.
Cam also says, what would I do if someone broke into my house right now? That's a whole other non-wrestling topic answer, he says.
Well, then we'll leave that for another show. Cheers for that, Cam.
Well, honestly, you do have these scenarios in your head, don't you?
Yeah, you do. I mean, what would you do? Would
for
you
a while,
would you cower or would you go and fart? Would
for
you
a while,
defend your castle?
I used to sleep with a claw hammer down the side of my bed.
Brilliant. That's definitely not illegal.
What? Why? I could be hanging pictures.
In your sleep, hidden in your bedroom.
Yeah. Yeah. No, we used to get trouble where I live. The family who had this house before us apparently had lots of grief. When we moved away, when we moved in, they moved away. We carried on getting the grief off the other people because they must have assumed that we were still living there and so on. And it got to a point where I literally sat with a hammer down the side of the bed. Now, that may have been an overreaction, but that was kind of, I suppose, answering that question about what would you do if somebody broke into your house kind of thing,
I think with that, because you're premeditating something happening, you would be in trouble for that because you've planned for that. So that would be your reaction. Now, if someone did it and you just grabbed the first thing to hand and knocked them out of it, then perhaps you get away with it. But if you had a hammer to hand on purpose, you're probably going to suffer some consequences.
Okay. So if I leave a few nails hanging around as well, I'm all right to go. Is what you're telling me.
It depends if the nails end up embedded in the burglar's face.
Yeah, this is it. Okay. Do you ever think about that, Maxie? What would you do if somebody broke in?
Yeah. Not all the time, but I have had thoughts, and I would hope that I would cave the brains in.
Yeah.
But you don't know what's happening until you're in that situation.
No, of course, yeah.
Yeah. So
exactly, mate. Exactly. Steve-O at Total Steve-O on Twitter. He says
Cam's out again. Not doing really well there, yeah. So Cam also says, what names do pets give their owners? Yeah, exactly. And just because you name your pet a certain name, is that its real name? And is your pet barking or meowing at you saying, no, why do you keep calling me that? That's not my name. Yeah. Brilliant. And definitely
let me come off mute. There we go. Am I back? I'm back, aren't I?
You are.
Yeah. Things are going a bit laggy for a second then.
So you may call Lemmy, but he might not answer you because that's not his real name.
He might identify as Bob or something. Malcolm.
Yeah,
Gene.
exactly.
Yeah.
Gene the cat.
Gene the cat. Yeah. You don't get a lot of genes, do you?
Unless you've got a centaur wearing them.
Well, this is true.
And you get
And they
4
are
different
odd-shaped
styles.
genes. Yep. Steve-O, at Total Steve-O on Twitter, he says, literally writing an hour before we go live, he means. And his shower thought is, why do people want you to have a template team in FPL, but they're your rival? No need for the Steve-O section music this week, he says, because that's all he sent us. Well, it's Steve-O time, not Steve-O section. So even though you've only sent us one response, I probably will still play it. But he's got a point. His whole mindset is that he gets asked about, setting up a template team by people who he's basically going to be in competition with.
It's because, I would assume it's because he's part of a duo that does a show based on fantasy football, so they might look to him as some sort of expert in the field. So if they can get what he thinks and then maybe tweak it to their likings, they can get a foot up on the competition. Perhaps it's that.
Yeah, but I can understand why it'd be frustrating. I can totally get that.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, why copy?
Well, this is it. Lose on your own ground, exactly like I do. Magsy, that's all I've got for Twitter this week, I think, unless I've missed something else, right?
So we've got Scottish Danny, so you clearly should have had that.
What is wrong with me this week?
So he says, the person who discovered milk, what were they doing to that poor cow when they suddenly discovered this? I have always had this kind of thought, like, how did people realize that you could drink cow's milk? What were they doing in the first place?
Wanking them off.
Exactly. And another one that is, who thought that rhubarb was a nice thing to eat? The first people who chewed on rhubarb must have realized how disgustingly bitter it was, and why not decide, nope, that's horrific. Instead, we'll put 200 pounds of sugar in it to basically take the taste away. Why do that? I don't understand.
Yeah, I can see a point. I mean, is rhubarb always bitter though? Because surely there must be a point when it's ripe and it's not completely bitter.
It's always bitter. It's fucking disgusting things. There's nothing good about rhubarb, because even if it was healthy, like with it being essentially a vegetable, you've got to plow it with loads and loads of sugar, which makes it incredibly then unhealthy. So there's no benefit to rhubarb. I
like rhubarb.
Just horrific. I've told this many times on the show, but when we moved to the house, we've got now, the back garden had a massive rhubarb patch, and I tore that rhubarb patch out and got rid, because I fucking hate rhubarb.
It's a shame. I like rhubarb. I like rhubarb gin as well. Rhubarb gin's nice.
Shock.
Rhubarb crumble. Yeah. I just basically like rhubarb things. I'm not going to sit here and list them all because that'd be pointless. I like rhubarb is kind of the gist of what I'm trying to get at, Max.
I got it.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Shall we dive into the chat, mate, and see what people are saying there?
Oh yeah. I mean, they're probably calling us for, Jesus Christ, it goes all the way back up. So we've got a follow up from Konor for a kickoff. Inspectors have left. Hope they found nothing wrong under there. Spent all of Saturday under the house with the spiders and the rats fixing things. Yeah, that's a weird thing about American houses. They're all essentially built on stilts, aren't they?
Yeah.
There's always like a crawl space underneath. Yeah, that's weird. Damn, how many killers would a killer kill if a killer could kill killers?
2.
Or, I mean, what if he killed the third one? No.
I don't know. I can't keep up with all that.
Dan also says he only thought of the crouton thing as far as the fact that swimmers float. But surely fish float, don't they?
No, they don't. No, fish don't float, do they?
So how come they're not walking on the bottom of the sea?
Because they swim, don't they?
Yeah, but they they're floating in the water, though, aren't they?
I'm thinking float as in on the surface, like a crouton.
Like
They don't do
bobbing on
that.
the surface. Yeah, I
Yeah.
suppose. Dan says he'll fetch his tinfoil hat. Then we've got Dan Sheffield 2025. Calling him an absolute bellend. And then he says, I think there's something going on between Dan and your missus, sir, because is this a book signing or a proposition? Because your husband is right there. So you do these things in plain sight, Dan, to take away the suspicion. Sharon confirms it. Maybe a bit of both.
Yes, it's the book signing in Sheffield we went to this year. The next one is in 2025. So, and it was me. Sharon was calling a bellend. I'm pretty certain.
Yeah, and he needs an adult. King's Big Brother says he'll chaperone Dan. I need a responsible adult. That's him out.
Well, Sharon will be there, to be fair.
It's okay. Well, no, Sharon won't, because she'll be locked in a prison cell before that, apparently.
But this is the other signing in Shrewsbury Prison. They're using the prison grounds for a book signing, and the authors are going to be sat in prison cells for readers to go in and visit them. And
it's a good job you're here for context.
It is. It is.
And then Dan says, "Why did his last message get blocked? Was it because he said? Was it because he said fuck?" Well, obviously it wasn't, because that one's come up and you've said fuck again.
Yeah. I don't know. Did something get blocked out? Did it?
Yeah, that's weird. Maybe Sharon said, "Look, you're giving away too much of the game, Dan.
Yeah, it was.
Keep it on the law. Keep it on the law." King's Please Banner says about the centaur. This is really scientific sport. And then we got B, 2OB. This is like a wish brainiac. Which one of us would be the John Tickle of the show then?
I don't know what that is.
You must have seen Brainiac.
No.
With Richard Hammond, where they used to do ridiculous science experiments and they blew up a lot of caravans.
I remember. Oh, okay. I remember a show blowing up caravans.
Yeah, they had snooker players come and they would pot a colour, and that would set off a reaction that would blow up a caravan with that colour smoke. You must remember that show.
No.
And they used to do fat versus thin, like which would survive better in certain conditions. Like if you were, if your office was flooded, what office furniture would you use to survive?
No.
Walking on a pool full of custard. You don't remember that one?
No. Magsy, listen, I'm telling you, brilliant. I don't think I've seen it. Okay.
Jesus. So we had all the beard talk. Sharon confirms that I was correct. And then King's Pigs Banner and Sharon got into a bit of it by saying it stops when you die. And Sharon says, no, it doesn't. And yes, it does. It's the skin retracting, so it stops growing. Look at that. I love the pettiness and the pedantry of the CWF. It's amazing. Cam says no, they don't use polyphene or whatever parts. He says it's still tin duct, but the biggest are around 5x5 square, 500. I'm assuming millimeters. So 50. You couldn't squeeze yourself through 50 centimeters. Next, we've got Dan often wonders how much time he spent having a shit, usually whilst having a shit. Brilliant.
There must be a way of figuring that out. There must.
I mean, you could estimate, I suppose.
Yeah. You'd never be exact, but you could have you'd probably be able to figure it out.
But how would you take into account the times that you've had the shit, but you sat there on your phone?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, fair point.
But does that time even count into it? Are you just counting?
Well, because you're not actually shitting at that point, are you? Yeah. I suppose you'd have to it's
a lot of variables.
You'd have to lock up a spreadsheet and time every poo you have for 12 months and all this sort of stuff, and then there's a lot of work that go into it. But I'm fairly certain you could figure it out.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Sharon says the fire is on me doesn't quite sound the same. No, you're right. It sounds very weird. Speaking of the fire. The neighbours are cooking again. I'm assuming that means the fire alarm's going off.
Yeah, the smoke alarm goes off all the time.
Cam says he can't wait to be part of the CWF Fantasy Football League.
It's looking Good, man. It's got quite a few teams in there already.
That's awesome. Sharon says, if you can't feed a gremlin after midnight, when can you feed them? Well, clearly before midnight.
Well, yes,
a
but we were
ridiculous
talking about
answer.
this the other night.
Because all time is after midnight.
Yeah. So is it when we came to the assumption that it must be when the sun comes up, because that would be the change, wouldn't it?
Well, no, surely the change will be when the clock is at 12. That's then officially a new day.
Right.
That
But
not,
it's
would that? Yeah, but
you're not allowed to feed them after midnight, right?
yeah. So that's the midnight is the end of one day, and
Yeah.
the beginning of another day.
Yeah, so you're not allowed to feed them at 12:05, basically. You're not allowed to feed them at 5 past midnight.
Yeah.
So it's past midnight. So when would you be allowed to feed them again?
Yeah. What's the time frame of when? So could it be 7 o'clock in the morning?
Yeah. But
So
we're
I suppose that the sunrise might be the best way then, because
I think
that's
so, wouldn't you?
when people would wake up and you start your day. You don't wake up at midnight and go, a new day has started, let's crack on. You sleep through that bit, don't you? So yeah, that makes sense. Then we've got some heathens. Rhubarb is delicious. Rhubarb is delicious. No, it's not. Rhubarb crumble is lovely. Who cares about healthy? Rhubarb is great. Look, I mean, 2 of these are confirmed Yorkshire peoples. So their choice doesn't come into it because they have the rhubarb triangle. So they're honor bound to like rhubarb. And Cam says he's been in a crow space in Harrogate. Oh God, I feel so sorry for you. I mean, one good thing comes out of Harrogate, and that's Yorkshire tea. Went back on tools, and it was creepy as shit.
Yeah, I would like that.
No, fuck that.
No chance. No chance. Have you got any that stand out, Magsy, that have not been mentioned with regards to these shower thoughts?
Yeah, I suppose. Do crabs think that fish are flying?
Yeah.
And also, how do you know when something smells underwater?
Okay.
Because you can't smell it, can you?
No. But again, that always gets me as well, because obviously sharks apparently can smell blood miles away, can't they?
And I don't think it's the fact they can smell it. They've got
the taste.
They've got receptors.
Okay.
That sense the blood's there.
Right.
It's like a couple of parts per million of water, and that's because of the salt makes the water more. I don't know how to put it, but it's almost like conductive of electricity. The salt makes the water more conductive, so the sharks can sense the blood a lot easier.
Listen to this. God, we're so educational. I say we. You are so educational tonight. I'm learning so much.
Another one that I've given quite a bit of ponderance to is you can never remember the beginning of a dream.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Whenever you're in a dream, you're always straight into that situation. You don't get like the build up.
Yeah.
It's very possible that 99% of the trees that you'll ever see in your life will still be there when you're dead.
That's true. Yeah.
God,
it makes you think, doesn't it, mate? Get so deep, don't we, on chain wrestling?
We do.
Should we ruin that now by talking a bit of wrestling itself?
Are you not going to come up with any of yourself? You're just not playing.
I bought mine up already. I often wonder how many beers I've drank in my life, how many cups of tea I've drank in my life, how long I've watched football for in my life.
Okay, fair enough. Let's get into this wrestling then, seeing as you're being so pedantic.
Let's get ready to rumble!
Mr. Mags, you smashed the poll.
How? I mean, it's the way that the CWF vote for these. This is another shower vote. There's just no. You can't predict how they'll vote, can you? Because there was a massive run where you were nailing it, and I was putting forward some really thought-provoking picks, and you were putting forward some absolute wank. And then you were winning hand over fist, and then I put forward something ridiculous, like a trial.
Yeah.
With Vince McMahon as a fucking honourable judge, And you
Honourable
guys,
is a loose term, but
you guys bit and absolutely decimated Size Pick, but it
there's
was
been
fun
times
watching this back.
where absolute classics have gone, like the Hell in a Cell, Undertaker, Mankind, 98. That lost on a poll
Mhm.
before. I don't know if we actually covered that. I don't know, but I don't know if we have. But that lost on a poll, which surprised me. I thought that was going to win a poll. I think one of the Austin Rock matches lost
There's
the
been
poll.
massive, yeah. There's been massive matches that I suppose you could think that some of the matches have been covered ad nauseum, I suppose. So,
Yeah, I suppose something. Yeah,
and also with people like to point and laugh at stupid shit.
yeah. This is true. This is true. On that note, then, shall we get into this week's wrestling topic that's not got any fucking wrestling in it?
There is 2 wrestling moves.
Total Stevo in the chat, just popping in. Brilliant stuff to see Stevo there. I don't know if he's still here, if he's gone, but he says, "Hey all, as ever, we'll listen in the replay. I'm sure I'll find out. But what's with Kenneth Williams being on screen from the Twitter page?"
That is. I mean, clearly it shows that you don't catch the live version very often, but it's essentially just the Twitter. We read through the comments and all the answers that the CWF put forward, and we try and show them on screen if Sa reads them in order.
I always read them in order. I'm not saying it's the right order.
The order. It's an order. Yeah.
I think the Kenneth Williams was in response to Scottish Danny asking what was the first person doing when they were milking a cow.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Exactly.
Exactly. For our wrestling topic, we head back to the December the 5th, 2005 edition of Monday Night Raw and the trial of Eric Bischoff. Bischoff had been the general manager on Monday Night Raw for a few years at this point. Cards on the table straight away. I'm a big Bischoff fan. I think the guy is bloody brilliant as an on-screen performer. I think he's brilliant in this as well. And I think he was a great GM, whether it was doing comedy stuff, serious stuff, the evil, authority figure stuff, whatever. But he was, no longer going to be working for the WWE on screen or even off screen for a little while. He was going to be taking a break or going home or whatever he may well be doing. So this is the way they decided to write him off screen. Magsy, how long has it been since you've seen this?
About a week ago, when it was basically introduced to me. I think it was just through a random YouTube deep dive, and I was able to strong arm it in. But yeah, before that recently came back onto my horizon. It's been a few years ago. I don't think I've watched all the segments all in one like the WWE YouTube video has put together, but I've definitely watched the episode of Raw that this was on more than one occasion. But it's been a while.
Okay, I don't think I've seen this since it aired. Which
that's becoming a regular thing with you.
Yeah.
Have you never done a Raw binge where you go through? Oh, well, brilliant. You should.
No, I've not. I mean, I did. I was rewatching Raw 96 for a change in attitude. I was following along with you guys then. I was watching the Raws every week, and the TV was awful, but I was enjoying watching it to be able to hear. I
apologize profusely for making people watch that.
But I've never. Every now and again, I chuck like 97. I might chuck a random Raw on from 97 to fall asleep, and then I wake up in the morning and like 5 of them have played, and I've only seen maybe half of one because I've been asleep. But that's the sort of thing I do. Yeah, I've never gone back.
That's what the Wrestle with Andy channel is all about.
I had that on the other night.
How good is that channel?
I didn't watch any of the histories or the build-ups or the ones that you explained. He's got other stuff on there as well, hasn't he?
Yes, yeah. There's a lot of content on there.
Countdown of like the greatest 4 Horsemen members, I think was on there, was one I watched. And of course, Barry was near the top.
Was he bollocks?
Which one was he bollocks? Barry Windham's one of the best horsemen, thank you.
Okay.
Flair's obviously number 1 with Arn. I'd probably put Barry just after that.
Really?
Yeah.
Paul Roma,
Oh,
levels.
fuck off, Mags. Fucking poor fucking Roma, you
And
knob.
I would put Kurt Hennig as more important to the Horsemen than Barry Windham.
He was in it for like 2 weeks.
Exactly. And they were
Spoiler
the
alert
best-
to everyone watching along on Nitro Nights at the moment.
They were the best 2 weeks of the Horsemen's careers.
Oh, you are talk. Oh, let's move on, shall we? Crying out loud. You just press buttons, don't you? Just do your best to wind me up. Just when I'm trying to be serious and we're actually getting to the serious part of the show.
We are watching a fake court with Jonathan Coachman as the leading defense attorney, and you think we're being serious?
No, fair point. Fair point. Little side note. I looked it up on the WWE network, first of all, to make sure I wasn't missing any segments, right?
And we do miss some segments.
Okay, right. I didn't think we did because the first 2 were okay, so I didn't bother checking anymore.
Right. So I'll probably bring them up when we get there. It's only a couple of bits. We miss a Mae Young segment, and I think we miss a bit where Triple H. I want to say Triple H questions Vince about what's happening and why he wants Eric to stay as general manager. But yeah, the one fun one we miss is the Mae Young one.
Right, okay. You'll have to talk me through that when we get there then. But the side note I was getting at, I did that on my phone. The WWE Network update is bullshit, but on my phone, it's fucking brilliant.
I hate it.
I hate it as well, but on my phone, it's better than on my TV for some reason.
I just hate all the ways that I can watch the network now. Have all been changed, and I hate it. And I wish it went back to how it were.
Okay, on that lovely note, we'll move on.
You don't even get. You don't. I mean, this is the most annoying part. You don't even get on the old app. They had like the little screenshot so you can skip to which segments you want.
Mm-hmm.
You don't get that anymore. You've literally
do it on my phone.
Fuck off.
You do. Have you got it on your phone? Try it on your phone. It might just be phones. I don't know.
I've tried it on my phone, and I get the same setup as the TV and the PS5.
Okay. There's little line. There's the line that you scan across, yeah, and it's got little tiny dashes. No pictures, but little tiny dashes. And when you go up to one of those lines, words pop above it saying "Trial of Eric Bischoff," and then you scan on.
I don't have that on mine.
Oh, okay. I don't have it on anything else but my phone. I can't watch TV on that. I can barely see what I'm doing now. I need glasses. My phone's too small. Anyway, the reason I bring that up, because I put it on the network, is because this is probably my favorite Monday Night Raw entrance theme.
Mm-hmm. Is it the Union Underground one?
Yes, love it.
Yeah,
love it. Yeah, it's great. Straight off the bat, we're off to the races, aren't we? Vince McMahon arrives in a garbage truck.
I mean, he did say the week before that if Eric didn't perform, he would be taking out the trash. And Vince, he's if anything, he's subtle. And no better way to nail home that subtlety than driving into the arena in a fucking garbage truck.
Yes. Oh dear me. He basically does, explains exactly what you just said, Magsy. I said I was going to take the trash out. There's the trash truck and all this sort of stuff. And then he calls out Eric Bischoff, and we get another great bit of music from this era. Bischoff's entrance theme is fucking awesome.
You love Bischoff's entrance theme.
I do. It's great. It's so good. For a little while, I thought he sang it. I don't know why.
Yeah, I mean,
I thought he sang that.
You could, because it sounds similar to his kind of like tone of voice. Yeah. I mean, I don't think I've ever thought that's an Eric Bischoff, but I can see why you would think that.
Okay. You can see already in these early segments, Vince is having a bit of fun here, isn't he? He's loving the fact he gets to run Bischoff down on screen.
It just that's his modus operandi though. Anytime he can embarrass one of his wrestlers, whether it's talent on the way out or in their hometown, he gets a massive hard on to do that, doesn't he?
Yeah.
He just loves it. Just loves embarrassing people.
Eric Bischoff is basically saying he loves his job. His job is what makes him who he is. And he effectively pleads for his job. Says he wants to keep his job. the crowd already singing the na 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 na. Hey, goodbye.
They were bastards, weren't they?
Yeah, they were desperate to get rid of it. I mean, but where are we? We're in one of the Carolinas, aren't we? Which is basically Flair country. It's horse.
Charleston,
Right.
North Carolina. Yeah.
Okay, so that's Flair and Horseman country. They fucking hate Bischoff anyway because of what he did to Flair.
Yeah. Because
So-
they absolutely detested him. So yeah, Bischoff is not going to have the best of times from here on in.
It's not. Vince states everyone should have their day in court. So there we go. That's what he's going to have. He's going to have his day in court.
And then he says he wants to explain why he's got 2 podiums out there and a raised a chair on a raised platform, but that's because he's appointed himself as the judge, the Right Honourable Vince McMahon, and that Eric Bischoff is going to have his day in court, and then he introduces the prosecuting lawyer, Mick Foley, of all people. Mick fucking Foley.
Yeah. I mean, Foley looked well here, didn't he? There are some
In
times when
a
Foley...
very ill-fitting suit.
Yeah.
Shoes which looked like he'd stolen them off a tramp. Yeah, he didn't look like a professional lawyer. Where Coach, he looked the business. He looked like he knew what he was doing. He clearly didn't, but
Foley with the little Batman lunchbox as well. I loved that. That was brilliant, man. That was so good. And basically, McMahon says, well, we get opening arguments, don't we? And the coach starts by defending his client by stating Eric Bischoff is an asshole,
which is accurate. It's absolutely accurate. And it makes sense. He does make a good point. It's that he's not there to be the fans' friend. Mm-hmm. He's there to deliver the most entertaining show of the week. And that's what he's been doing for 4 years. And the coach, by the end of the night, is going to prove that not only does Eric deserve to keep the job, but he also deserves a raise, and that he is the single greatest general manager in WWE history. Behind Hornswoggle, obviously.
Oh, fuck Hornswoggle, man. I can't stand Hornswoggle. I really can't. Foley also says that Bischoff has been incredibly generous and done some good things for Monday Night Raw, and harks back.
What a
brilliant
point! Brilliant point.
He harks back to that night in January of '99, I think it was, Magsy.
Yeah.
The same night of the Finger Poke of Doom on WCW TV. The whole line from Tony Schiavone about Mick Foley is going to win the WWF title on the other channel. It's pre-recorded. That'll put butts in seats, and then hundreds of thousands of people turned over.
Yep. And Eric Bischoff is in denial of that, shaking his head. And then Mick goes on to say that he is going to prove that as a general manager, Eric Bischoff was manipulative and deceitful, and that he will prove that he fails to entertain the general public, and then gets in the cheap Mick Foley plug of saying the public right here in Charleston, South Carolina.
Puts the thumb up, doesn't he? Vince then says, we'll continue this in a more suitable environment, which makes me wonder, why did you bother having the chair and the platforms out in the fucking first place? But okay, whatever.
They get used later on in the show, I suppose. Yeah. But then they would have to be taken down for the wrestlers to wrestle.
Yeah, for the rest of the matches.
And then put back up. Yeah, so yeah, it is pointless. Sharon delivering the cup of tea there.
My cup of tea. Yeah, there we go. Thank you very much.
So that's one more cup of tea to add to your tally.
I'm going to start counting from now. So I'm just going to mark it down. One. There we go. We next see, well, as far as I could recognize from the YouTube link, we next see them at the courthouse, and we have Chris Masters acting as the bailiff with his shirt off and a hat on, which was
and a hat and a bailiff hat on. Brilliant.
Yeah. Foley's got his feet up on the desk and so on. And we get the first witness called, which is Stephanie McMahon.
That's correct.
With entrance music.
Yep.
which
I mean-
kind of threw me a little bit.
I mean, why?
I don't
It's
know.
Probably,
It just seemed weird.
probably just to entertain the crowd who are
Mm,
watching this on the Titantron.
yeah, fair enough. Stephanie looks great here, doesn't she?
I mean, she has done for a long while. I mean, she still looks great now.
Yeah. I'm not saying she doesn't now. I'm not saying, wow, Stephanie looks great here, but my God, she's took a turn for the worse. That's not my intent. My intent. I'm
She has
just
not aged well.
blonde Steph, I quite like. Exhibit A is the time that, and we covered this before, didn't we? Because it was in one of our wrestling stories that went nowhere. Way, way, way back, a very early episode of Chain Wrestling. It was when Stephanie and Eric Bischoff shared a kiss.
Yeah, and it's weird. And I
Yeah.
mean, it's not weird because of that. It's weird because he's wearing a Vince McMahon rubber mask and doing a Vince McMahon impression. And then Steph gets kissed by him, and she hates it at first. She's trying to fight him off, and then she gets into it, and he slams her onto the table, and she's going at it whole hog. And then when he walks away, there's a rare little smile on her face. But then when we go back to court, she's claiming that that Eric impersonated her dad, and then violated him, and it's been 3 years, and she still cannot get the taste out of her mouth.
That's how I feel about that fucking onion I earlier.
And the best part of this segment was Coach tries to object, and Vince, shut up. I mean, overruled.
Yeah. Also, flashback to Stephanie McMahon as the SmackDown GM. Here she's dressed as a hot witch because it's Halloween. Bischoff was dressed as Vince McMahon for a reason. It wasn't just he was walking around with a Vince mask on. It was Halloween. Yeah. Steph as the hot witch. Banging look as well. Anyway, what comes up?
Getting inspiration for the next Halloween
Mate,
wrestling episode.
I've got a couple of ideas for the
Don't
Halloween.
be a hot witch.
I'm not going to be a hot witch. I'm not. I did ask the question to Sharon, though. If I dress up as an Asian lady, is that racist?
Oh, God.
And she said, if you're dressing
Yes.
up as an Asian wrestler, that's one thing. But to literally refer to yourself as an Asian lady, that's incredibly racist. So
Were you
I'm
going
not
to
going
be
to do that.
like a geisha?
No, I wasn't going to be a geisha. Far more clever than that, mate.
Okay.
You'll have to wait
Gail
and see.
Kim?
Yeah,
No,
that's
because-
Gail Kim.
It's not happening. You're
Is it
not
not?
dressing up as something. I'm the racist one on here. Oh, I'm. Don't clip that, people. I am misconstrued as the racist one here. I say the silly things. Don't come dressed as an Asian person.
Okay. I was going to see if I could work out a way of being Bull Nakano with the face paint. And then I was going to do my hair straight up.
I think you could pull that off. That wouldn't be racist.
Yeah.
That's homage. So Sharon's
Yeah, there
right.
you go.
Yeah.
No,
So
Sharon's right. Sharon's right, because the way I worded it was probably very racist.
Yeah.
But that wasn't my intent.
That's the Gloucester coming in from you.
Maybe. Tajiri was the next witness that I got.
Yep. I think so. Yeah. Tajiri's next.
Speaking of racism, we get Tajiri basically being mocked by his own interpreter, I think.
This interpreter is absolutely brilliant. No, so Tajiri says, "I wish that a pregnant rhinoceros would shove his Marty horn up Eric's Marty crevice." Brilliant.
Oh man. Chris Masters is then called to the stand.
No, you miss the section, the bit where Coach then, as payback to Tajiri, makes him fight Triple H.
Oh yes, of course.
And then to make sure that doesn't sway the judge, he says that wasn't done out of malice, but it's just the spirit of competition. And Vince is like, yes, it is. I accept that. And this is where we get the fabulous Moolah and Mae Young. And maybe that's why they've cut this part, because of Moolah and the controversy that happened around her and her past. But we get Mae Young coming to the stand, and she's accompanied by Moolah. And then we go to an ad break. And then when they come back, Mae Young is finishing a story, and the final word is That's why Eric Bischoff has no penis. Coach then stands up and says, I object. There is little to no evidence that Eric Bischoff has no penis. And then Mick Foley says he wants to introduce Exhibit B. And this is a video of Mae Young kissing Eric Bischoff in the middle of the ring. I think Stone Cold's in the ring as well. And then Eric is given a Bronco Buster. But before the Bronco Buster from Mae Young happens, she takes her pants off. And she's wearing a thong, like a black lacy thong. And she does the whole Rikishi slapping of the arse. And this is an 80-odd-year-old woman arse. And then she does the Bronco Buster, and 80-year-old woman lady bits, barely covered by lace underwear, are millimeters away from Eric Bischoff's face. So, yes, we get that.
I'm quite glad that was missing on the version
Which
I
is
watched.
grim, yeah. And then Coach objects to this evidence and says, this witness is old and senile, and above all else, she is taunting my client because Mae Young was in the witness box doing the old.
Oh, for goodness sake!
She even does it to Vince, just doing the V licking thing. Yeah, it's not good. It's not good.
I'm glad I didn't see that. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not glad I saw you doing it. That was quite disturbing on its own level. But thanks. Yeah, okay, I got it. Thank you. Okay.
Just for the people on the audio.
Oh, for goodness sake! Chris Masters is next up on the stand. The bailiff himself. He sits down and introduces himself as Chris Masters. He says,
"Well, Vince makes him take his hat off at first because that's his bailiff uniform."
Yes, and he apparently gives the wrong name because Vince says that his real name is not Chris Masters, obviously, and finds him in, is it contempt of court or purgatory or
perjury? He's committed perjury. He's called Chris Medeska, which is obviously his real name. And then he says, "Bailiff, can you please remove yourself from the courtroom?" And he essentially forces Chris Masters to leave the court.
Yeah, I enjoyed that. I
think he was going to be the star witness as well for the defense.
Right. Okay. We get a witness up next that is quite in favor of the defense, and that's Daivari. He sits there singing the praises of Eric Bischoff and talking about how great the guy is. He gave him a chance and all this sort of stuff. And then we turn to Vince, and Vince is listening to his iPod and hasn't heard a word he said. So none of it is relevant.
He's listening to Ashley Simpson, firstly. And then when the coach says, "Oh, Daivari can repeat what he said," Vince says, "Yeah, you don't need to repeat it. And also, Daivari, you will not be refereeing Kurt Angle's match later in the show." So, unfortunately, it doesn't happen. That's another witness that Eric Bischoff can't use. Another lot of evidence that he can't use for his case. And then we get Mick Foley eating moon pies. Now, I think I've never heard of a moon pie. Oh, I've heard of them, but I've never seen one. I think they might be wagon wheels from the look of them. They look like wagon wheels.
Yeah, that makes sense. It's recess, they say. So they're having, and he offers a wagon wheel or a moon pie to Eric Bischoff and lobs
He
it
don't
on
just
the table.
offer one, he just lobs it. He does it. "Oh, do you want a moon pie?" And he's there drinking a can of, I think it's RC Cola, making sure that the logo is in shot. Yeah, Foley's he's just a scruff, isn't he? He's just an absolute scruff.
He is. Simon Dean is being called to the stand next. So we get his
My
music
next witness,
playing.
Simon Dean. Where the hell is your witness? And then we get the boogeyman.
And this was bad because the boogeyman at this point, he's still doing all the worms gimmick and all that sort of stuff, but they're coming out of his nose.
Yeah, and he snorts and it goes up one nostril and comes out the other. It's horrible. Yeah.
So
but he unfortunately he's not on Bischoff's side, and he says, "Eric B, you're gonna get what's coming to you," because he's the boogeyman. Tick tock, and I'm coming to get you. Smashes the clock, does the usual boogeyman things, and then hides away, I assume, underneath the witness box. Yeah. So
That's really weird.
it's not gone well. It's not gone well for Eric so far. Nobody's really come to defend his corner.
No, not a popular chap, it seems. Somebody who is quite popular in this era is Maria. Look at that for a segue. Oh,
Brilliant.
and she arrives dressed as Maria in this era did, shall we say. And she obviously had this gimmick of not being very bright, very ditzy, very, that kind of vibe. And even asks Mick Foley to ask her the questions via Mr. Socko.
Yeah, and Eric and Coach are both giggling away and thinking, yeah, we've got this. She's a fucking idiot. She's going to ruin this herself. And then it turns out she was actually really smart. Her testimony is that last week, Eric Bischoff abused his power in a way that was malicious and capricious. It was this rash discourse that led to this locker room of disdain and mutiny and should be grounds for his immediate dismissal. And Eric and Coach's jaws drop. That's the hammer blow that this court case needed. And Maria has just destroyed his case. It's brilliant. And she also then gets to walk out of the back entrance of the court just so everyone can turn around and essentially perv on her. Yeah.
And they do quite obvious, very. I mean, it's 2005. I was going to say it's not that long ago, but it's pushing 20 years ago. But still, it's very old, almost Attitude Era-esque treatment of a lady.
Vince was pretty much masturbating underneath that.
Yeah,
that
it wasn't
gown,
a good look.
Yeah.
I mean, I say Maria, that was a good look by all means, but Vince, it was not a good look what was going on with the WWE at this point.
Exactly.
We then basically get told we're going to go back to the arena for closing arguments.
Yeah, because Coach wants to call another witness, but Vince says, no, we've had enough of this. We're going to adjourn, and then we're going back to the arena for the closing argument. And Vince and Stephanie go back to the arena in a fucking limo.
Mm-hmm. Of course. The closing arguments are set to take place, but Eric Bischoff decides he's going to defend himself for this segment.
Right, so in here, I will interject. So whilst Vince was going to the ring, he walks into Triple H, and Triple H says to him, "You should listen to your number one guy in the company, and I think Eric Bischoff should stay because he'd rather deal with the devil that he knows than the devil that he doesn't." And
I didn't get any of that.
So Triple H says, if you think about it, he hasn't really done that bad of a job. But then Vince comes back to Trips and says, the only reason you want him is because you find it easy to manipulate him. And Triple H says, yeah, you're not wrong. And then Triple H says, oh, excuse me, this is my daughter, Stephanie. Stephanie, this is Triple H. Now, clearly they've met before, but we get a really long stare between the two as if they fell in love and it's love at first sight. And yeah.
Okay.
Sowing the seeds of future storylines.
Well, that's a good thing, isn't it? Yeah. I'd rather they did these sort of little touches and pre-planning stuff, but yeah, a little bit nonsensical to think that that's the first time they've met. That was a bit daft.
Yeah, it's ridiculous, but
yeah. Eric Bischoff, like I said, is going to now defend himself. And he does quite well. But again, it comes back to Bischoff being a good on-screen performer, I think. He's always been a good promo on that, hasn't he?
Yeah, well, before we get that, Foley does his final arguments, and he says he keeps it short and sweet. Eric has abused his power for too long. You've got the truck, Vince, for the love of God. Let's use it. It's time to take out the trash. And I like the way he started this with, I will keep this short and sweet, because this segment is not short and sweet. It actually goes on for quite a while. So he lied.
Yeah. Yes. Bischoff mentions the Elimination Chamber, saying that was his invention. And we should have an Elimination Chamber main event at the next Raw pay-per-view. People will buy that. And he talks about how good he is at getting people to part with their money, which is the whole point of a promoter, I suppose. So he's singing his own praises in a way that would make sense for the role he's trying to keep, I think, Mags. It was quite logical at this point, I think.
Yeah, and he kind of doubled down on a lot of the comments that Coach made in the opening argument, that he doesn't like the fans. He can't stand the fans, but he knows how to separate the fans from their money. And
Yeah.
Vince said to him when he came to the company, controversy creates cash, and you can't deny that he's created a ton of both controversy and cash. So yeah, then he like you said, he mentions the Elimination Chamber, and that would eventually be his last role as a general manager, making that WWE title match at the next pay-per-view. And then he compares himself to Vince, and Vince at the beginning he's quite disgusted because Eric says we're both hated in this industry, and Vince is there. I'm adored. How dare you say it? And then he says, but more importantly, we are both respected. And Vince is like, yes, we are. We've overcome obstacles. We get things done. So Vince, please let me keep my job as general manager, and together we will make a fortune.
Yeah. And then John Cena turns up.
He does.
Fuck's sake.
And even at this time, the fans weren't interested in John Cena being involved in this.
I was sick of Cena at this point. As a fan watching, I was already sick of Cena by this stage.
And he comes out and essentially tries to suck off Vince. He's up Vince's arse, which is ridiculous. So he goes, I'm not here to tell people what I think about Bischoff. Everyone already knows I think he's a jack-off. He's out here because he claims to be a great man. And then the final piece of evidence for this court case is that he took away the ability for the fans to say you suck, because he has a finger on the button, and he's able to censor when the fans are saying you suck. And he says to Vince, you're a pioneer for free speech, and Eric is trying to censor people. Says, Vince, you say what you want and you do what you want. You look ridiculous dressed up as a robe, but we're here. Everyone's loving it. And then to try and get the crowd on side, he says, allow me to get my Perry Mason on and introduce you to 10,000 surprise witnesses. And the fans they don't know whether to cheer or boo, because they just want this to be over, I think.
Yeah.
But he gives them very loaded questions. Says, should Eric remain as the general manager? Clearly they're going to boo. Do you want to see him get fired? They cheer. And then he says, the people have summed up your career in two letters, F-U, because that was the name of his move at the time.
Oh, look at that. See what he's doing there. Vince also has a little go at sort of, surveying the crowd, I suppose. And he asks about the Elimination Chamber. Is this a good idea? And all this sort of stuff. And the crowd cheer for that. So Vince then says, okay, we will see that. We will see the Elimination Chamber. You will see the Elimination Chamber. Everyone watching at home will see the Elimination Chamber. But not you, Mr. Bischoff. And Bischoff's face just changes. And I loved the way that was done. I thought that was really good.
I mean, it was probably a lie as well, because even if he was fired, he could still watch it.
Well, yeah, so,
Are you barred from ever watching any WWE products ever again if you get fired? I don't think so.
I bet if Vince could, there are certain people that he would ban from watching his WWE.
Ted Turner.
Well, yeah, there you go.
Tony Khan, definitely.
Yeah.
But then we get the classic, don't we? We get the Vince McMahon in your face, Eric Bischoff, you're fired.
Oh, and the crowd love it, don't they? The pop, first of all, when he says about the Elimination Chamber and says, oh, but you won't see it. The crowd reaction to that is quite strong.
Yeah.
But then the reaction to the you're fired,
and you see the spit,
classic WWE stuff.
See the spit and the vitriol coming out of his mouth, and Eric Bischoff just having to stand and take it. And poor Eric Bischoff fired, out of a job, and then gets FU'd by John Cena, and no sells it. Now, there's a reason why he no sells it. Clearly, he's got to get out of the ring.
It's a shit move.
I mean, it's literally just it's terrible. It's a terrible move.
It's a fireman's
But-
carry takedown. That's all
Yeah.
it is.
Yeah, but it's meant to be one of the most protected moves in the business. So big name wrestlers have took that move and stayed down, and yet Eric Bischoff takes it and crawls to the ropes, where
He gets booted at the butt.
he gets kicked in the ass, and then slammed, picked up by Vince McMahon, and then slammed into the back of the garbage truck. And then the bit that I've never been able to get my head around: how do you gimmick a garbage truck to where when the mechanism starts working, it doesn't crush Eric Bischoff into a tiny little cube, because the back of the garbage truck starts to work and squash all the rubbish. And then Vince McMahon drives the garbage truck out of the arena, and that's the end of the show. It's the end of Bischoff as general manager.
It's definitely interesting.
Can you imagine getting fired, doing a poor job and getting fired? Understandable, but getting thrown in the back of a bin wagon and drove out the arena—that's embarrassing, isn't it?
When I left the co-op when I was 17, I got thrown in the skip.
Brilliant. So you could relate to Eric.
I felt Bischoff's pain.
One tear like that, looking out of a rainy window.
Yeah. Final thoughts and out of 10 then, Magsy. What did you think of this? I suppose we're rating this on enjoyment level as opposed to in-ring action, because if it's in-ring action, it's a fucking 0.
Well, it's as in-ring technical as a typical John Cena match. We get
there you go.
We get 2 moves of doom, I suppose. But for entertainment, I think this is it's a highlight of 2005 WWE for me. Eric Bischoff is brilliant in this role. He clearly is on the way out, but takes it all in his stride and really sells it. This Vince McMahon, I thought, was funny, a bit cheesy in some parts with the iPod thing and stuff. But that Vince McMahon is almost cheese personified at this era. I think it goes on a little bit too long, and like you said, I didn't get the point of the opening segment to have the podium set up, to then take it down for the matches, then to reset it up for the podium again. But it was fun. I enjoyed it. So 7, I'll go with a 7.
Okay. I've got 7 as well. I've literally got, I think you can make that 8. I've got 7 out of 10 and fun written next to it.
Yeah.
So there we go.
Much.
I got real. I know it's not as old as some of the wrestling that I watch on a regular basis, but I got quite strong nostalgia vibes from this, because I won't have seen this since it aired. That Raw theme tune, Bischoff's theme music, and then things like even Simon Dean's theme music playing and so on. I got real nostalgia vibes from this. Seeing Cena with a spinning belt, even though I criticised him on the show today, yeah, it really sort of took me back to watching Monday Night Raw in that era. And again, Bischoff on screen is a fantastic performer. I think he's incredibly underrated when people talk about greatest promos of all time and so on.
Yeah,
so 7 out of 10, and it was good fun, mate. It was good fun.
Yeah, it was.
So, Mr. Mags, where would you like to link to next?
Okay, so Eric Bischoff, known mainly for his backstage roles and then his on-screen talent roles, but not really as a wrestler. You wouldn't put him in the bracket of a wrestler, would you? But do you know he's actually had 24 wrestling matches in his career?
As many as that?
24.
Wow.
Which,
Okay.
For an on-screen talent in his role is quite actually a lot. And in 2003 he had loads, and he actually had a above average record. And I'm also trying to think of where we could go for episode 100 as well. So next week's episode is obviously the last kind of link in that chain to 100. So I've got to kind of set my stall out now to potentially get to that pick that I'm thinking about for episode 100. So I'm going to go to one of his early matches. In fact, I think it was his second ever match. It's 1998.
Okay.
WCW NWO Road Wild,
Okay.
where he partners with the greatest wrestler who ever lived, Hollywood Hulk Hogan, to take on Diamond Dallas Page and that well-known wrestling superstar, Jay Leno.
Why? Okay. That is interesting. That is interesting because there is a lot of ways you can link from that as well, obviously.
Mhm.
And then you get the NWO skits where they took over the Tonight Show
You do.
as well, which is some fantastic TV. So, why?
And
Okay.
it's a good way to kind of like put an exclamation point on this mini Eric Bischoff run we've gone on, because this was a vanity project for him, having the show at Sturgis, not making any money on it because everyone got him for free. He loves his hogs, so this lost WCW a hell of a lot of money just because it's Eric Bischoff wanted a vanity project. So yeah.
Yeah, okay. Interesting. WCW Road Wild 1998. Eric Bischoff,
Yes.
Hulk Hogan, DDP, Jay Leno.
Jay Leno, who, spoiler alert, holds Hulk Hogan in a headlock.
Yeah, that bit's fucking ridiculous. But anyway, we can have some real fun looking at that. My option going up against it's got two links. One of them is Mick Foley. The other one is actually Vince McMahon himself.
Okay.
And it's quite straightforward. Mick Foley is in this trial of Eric Bischoff a great deal. And it's a Mick Foley match with Vince McMahon as the referee. And I would like to go to Over the Edge in Your House 1998 and see Dude Love wrestle Stone Cold Steve Austin for the WWF Championship with Vince McMahon as guest referee and The Undertaker as the special enforcer.
This was when he was corporate Dude Love.
Ah, okay. See, that whole time, I'm quite hazy on. I've never gone back and watched masses of it. And the whole Dude Love story and so on, it gets a bit,
Yeah, so I think it was when Mankind and Stone Cold were on and off friends and partners, and then Dude Love returns. Mankind had quit as well, ripped his mask off and quit, and then the next episode he came back as Dude Love. He had the Love Shack with the blow sofa, and then I'm sure they had a Vince McMahon versus Austin match where he had one arm tied behind his back and he wanted it to be the stunner arm. And then when Dude Love was separating the two, that's when he did the mandible claw on Austin and turned rogue. I think it's that whole storyline.
Okay,
yeah,
interesting.
It's a great storyline. I mean, Mick Foley and Steve Austin have some cracking matches.
I know this one ends up with Austin bleeding a lot, doesn't it? If I remember rightly. Yeah. Okay, so there you go. Those are your options on this week's poll. We have Road Wild 1998, Eric Bischoff and Hulk Hogan versus DDP and Jay Leno from WCW there. Love a bit of WCW, mate. Love a bit of WCW. Or we have Dude Love versus Stone Cold Steve Austin, Over the Edge in Your House 1998 with Vince McMahon as the referee. In fact, that's both from 98 as well. That's funny, isn't it?
It's weird, isn't it?
Yeah, look at that. Look at that. The poll will, as always, be available on our Twitter account or X or whatever it's fucking called now, at @chain_wrestling. So make sure you vote in the poll, shout out why you're voting a certain way, retweet, all that great stuff. If you don't have a Twitter account and you follow the show via Facebook or some other method, just open one up just so you can vote. We're fucking awesome. We're totally worth it.
Yeah, I mean, definitely come to me for daily quips on Twitter.
There we go. Yeah. Yeah, righto. Magsy, should we scan through the chat quickly before we depart?
We shall. So Barry Horowitz was the best horseman. He was. I mean, he's up there. He's definitely higher than Barry Windham, and he was never a horseman in the first place.
You know what, Pig Spiders? You can go off people.
Brilliant. Cam is not happy that you're giving WCW Nitro spoilers again.
Shit, I'm sorry, mate. I'm sorry.
And then Cam says he will only use the network on his phone, and the update is better because you can minimize the screen and play it in the background. Yeah, I mean, I suppose I could stream it from my phone to my TV. with but yeah, it's just the rigmarole. It was
Yeah,
fine
bollocks,
as
yeah.
it was. It was
Yep.
fine as it was. You didn't need to fuck about with it.
Mhm.
Scottish Danny says, we've just seen Eric Bischoff turn heel on Nitro Nights, and now you guys are covering the end of his full-time run. See, it's levels.
Links
It's
in,
like
isn't it?
it's like the movie Memento. If you all have seen the movie Memento, but yeah, the scenes are not in chronological order. You see the end and the beginning all mixed up. So
Nah, I've not seen that. I think that's one of those films that has come up a few times in the past, and people have said
great
you
film.
need to watch that,
great film.
and I've said I will definitely do that, and
And you
I have.
definitely haven't.
Nope.
Scottish Danny also says Swoggle killed the cruiserweight division. Yeah, he was a dick, wasn't he?
Fuck that little green dude.
Cam Griffin says, great turn, isn't it, Danny? The Eric Bischoff one, I assume he means. Cam then also says 80-odd-year-old lady bits. Next CWFT. Yeah, but it sounds good because we know the context. But you walk around with a t-shirt saying 80-odd-year-old lady bits on. Yeah, you're gonna get some weird looks. I mean, wrestling t-shirts get weird looks as it is, but
And you've got to think as well, what would be the image?
yeah, like a kebab or some beef curtains.
Oh, for crying fucking
And then finally, I threw up a little bit in my own mouth. Dan says that Dude Love versus Steve Austin match was batshit, but unfortunately, we'll not probably see it because hopefully Road Wild will win.
What, Jay Leno? Fucking hell. I haven't seen that in so long.
Yeah, and I think I might have seen it one time. I've seen like clips of it in videos taking the piss out of WCW and kind of like where they jump the shark. But yeah. It's not going to be good, is it?
Fun though. Be fun.
Not as fun as this week's.
Well, Magsy, before I go, I just want to say this is something I should have done earlier in the show, to be fair. So I apologize to everyone listening and so on. But sad news today: Adrian Street passed away at the age of 82. Yeah, quite an influential wrestler, from the 70s, 80s, and all this sort of stuff. Welsh as well, 14, 15 years of age, working down the coal mines and all that sort of stuff. So if there's any younger listeners to this show or viewers to this show, whatever, I want to recommend that people go and check out, because people might have seen the famous pictures of this guy, or people might have heard the name or whatever, but not really understand who he is, because there's the footage of Adrian Street Wrestling, you got to actively go and seek it out. It's not just going to pop up on the network or anything like that. This guy was one of the best character wrestlers of his era and influenced so many people going forward. Hugely influential in the professional wrestling world. And when you look at his life and where he came from and what he had to go through, to then see how he and the abuse he got as well for the era he wrestled in, dressing the way he did, very much pressing homophobic buttons to get heat and get crowd reactions and so on. In an era when you would literally get attacked for that kind of thing. It's an incredible story and an incredible career. So if there's any younger people out there who are unfamiliar with this guy, I just want to give a shout out to a couple of documentaries. The first one I think might be on Amazon. If not, you might be able to find it on YouTube or Dailymotion or other very legal places. It's called You May Be Pretty, But I Am Beautiful, the Adrian Street story. Adrian Street is involved in it himself as well, I believe. Well worth checking that out. It's been a long time since I've seen it, but well worth having a look at that. And also on the WWE Network, there's a short little sort of 25-minute, half-hour documentary with Adrian Street himself talking about his life, his career, growing up in Wales, and the gimmick and the makeup when guys just didn't do that at that time. And it's called Adrian Street, Imagine What I Could Do to You. And you can find that, well, in theory, you can find that on the WWE Network.
I mean, good luck finding it, but it's there.
Yeah. And it's well worth a look. And I really suggest that anyone who's interested in the history of pro wrestling and how different people influence different people and how some of your favorites now as younger wrestling fans may have been influenced by somebody who was influenced by this particular person. Yeah, it's just a fantastic story. So yeah, rest in peace, Adrian Street. go and check out those 2 documentaries if you've not heard of this guy before. It's well worth it. It's well worth checking out.
Yeah, an absolute wrestling trailblazer, and our thoughts are with his friends and family at this time. Yeah, rest in peace, mate.
Yeah, there we go. On that slightly sad note, then, Magsy, I'm off now to jump online and go to Lollyloo Art on Etsy.com and the shop there and treat myself to some fantastic stickers that my niece has put together. And I suggest everyone else does the same. I'll see you next week, my friend.
Follow me on TikTok at PodfatherMags.
Yeah, and the show as well, actually.